Stonewalling is withdrawing or refusing to respond to your partner. For a man, it may be a response to his own confusion or due to his feeling overwhelmed. Remember that in early life, a man learns that he has to come up with the answers to problems on his own. So this behavior makes sense. However, the stone wall is a defensive move, which is different than the man cave we discussed in another lesson. For women, being stonewalled by her mate creates excessive anxiety and anger. Yes, women stonewall too. Now, for the surprising side of stonewalling, it's actually much more damaging to the relationship if the woman is the stonewaller. So, do you shut him out when he hurts your feelings or does something you don't approve of? The female version of stonewalling can be subtle, refusing to talk to him for a few minutes, or dramatic, pouting and stomping out of the room, slamming the doors, not speaking for days. Ladies, observe your own behavior. Notice how often you stonewall in response to something he says or does. Remember, your stonewalling can be more subtle, so you'll have to be a diligent detective. I received this comment from a visitor to our Understanding Men website. Notice how this man signed his comment. It reveals a ton about what he's experiencing. He said, "Yours is the very first place I visited that acknowledges the excessive damage caused by a female stonewaller. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm aware of my male ego. I can intellectualize this issue until I'm faced. I'm aware of my male ego. I can intellectualize this issue I'm faced with. I spend an inordinate amount of time qualifying the whys, the hows, and all the possible misinterpretations before saying one word about how I'm feeling. But it doesn't matter. At some point she will disengage. Here are her most popular ways. I can't take this anymore. Can we talk about this later? Shouldn't you be working instead of dealing with this? This one really hurts. Or she'll change the subject and ignore what I'm saying. Or she'll pretend to listen, but meanwhile she's only in her own world. She'll play the victim. You're always complaining about me. My response is usually, it's not a complaint, it's a concern. And if we manage to complete one of these conversations in a respectful and courteous way, we wouldn't be here again. If I make one mistake, as she sees it, during an attempt at communicating, for example, raising my voice slightly, she's done. If I make one mistake, as she sees it, during attempts at communicating, for example, raising my voice slightly, she's done. I eventually end up losing my temper and saying something I feel I should apologize for saying, and always do. She has a difficult time with apologies and acknowledging truth. It's funny, I completely understand what she's doing. I was guilty of this in a previous relationship. However, this does nothing to heal the pain I feel. Here's the kicker. Other than this, she's the sweetest, funniest, nicest person I've ever been with. But my real need for what I term as real intimacy would seem to transcend this. Any thoughts would be deeply appreciated. Signed, Emasculated. My response. Most people stonewall as a defense against overwhelming anxiety. Think of it as her best attempt to calm everything and everyone in the midst of what feels like an impossible situation. Emasculated followed up with another question. P.S. I almost forgot. What's your reasons for saying it's actually more damaging to the relationship if the woman is the stonewaller? Here's my second response. According to research, men are more emotionally and relationally sensitive, and they're less likely to have the skills needed to repair the damage. That is, it can be very, very difficult for a man to express his vulnerability and to elicit the empathy and support he needs from his partner.